out there without care. I was out of tune, but it wasn't because I didn't know. No, I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Possibly. I hope that you're having the time of your life. Think twice. That's my only advice. Oh, who do you think you are? Oh, bless your soul.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Guys, I hope you're well. Is it just me, or does today feel like a Saturday? I mean, I had to do one of those double takes, honestly, really. Woke up this morning, had this euphoric Saturday feeling, and I had to literally jolt myself into the reality that it is Friday. Somebody please tell me in the comments below if you also feel like today is Saturday, when in reality it is Friday. We are still in the throes of the week. Honestly, sometimes I think I'm just too dramatic. Honestly. Is that a flaw? Is that a kink in the armor, do you think? Or should I work on that, or no? Or should I just leave it the way that it is? What do you think? Guys, you're not going to believe this. So this morning I hop on a Yango, and guess what? I did the unthinkable. Talk about ruining your day. I left my phone in the back seat of the car. Can you believe this? Unbelievable. So here it is. There was so much traffic on Simon Mwizu Lane. So the Yango guy says to me, he says, "Do you mind if I turn off the order so that I get another ride?" I said, "Sure," because we were on Simon Mwizu Lane. We had just driven past Young Firo's, and we were bleeding into Baba, and which is a step away from Simoson. So I said, "Sure, let's do that." And he does the thing where he cancels it. And then he says to me, he says, "Do you mind if you give me 5 stars?" I'm always amused when Yango drivers say to me, could you give me a 5-star? Guys, Yango drivers, hear me, and hear me loudly and hear me clearly. You do not solicit for a 5-star rating. Let me say that again. As a Yango driver, you do not turn around and solicit a 5-star rating. It is up to the customer to do that. What determines your rating is the way you service the customer. How prompt you are, and how cordial you are, how quickly you get the customer, quickly and safely you get the customer to the destination, how clean your car is, all those things. As customers, we look at all that. How clean you are. We don't want drivers that are talkative. If you're on a Yango and you choose to engage with your driver, that's fine. But it's never a good idea for the driver to be too chitty-chatty. There's nothing worse than a chitty-chatty driver. Do you know what it is to chitty-chat? To chitty-chat means you talk too much. Okay? So this guy, he says to me, he said, and I said, "Sure, let's do that." And for some reason, I got distracted. There was somebody by the side of the road, and I was talking with them. I hopped out of the car. Against my better judgment, I didn't look at my seat because the rule is anytime you guys are jumping off of a cab, and all of us are susceptible to this, every single one of us, we're all susceptible to this. Sometimes we don't look at the seat. But conventional wisdom tells you as you disembark, as you get off, as you step out of the cab, just glance over. Sometimes we don't do that. And I didn't do that. So I step out of the cab and I'm talking to somebody by the side of the road, and I'm there for maybe 5 minutes. And then I walk all the way up here to my office, and then I start doing one of these. You know you're in trouble when you do this. You know your phone is gone. The moment you start doing this, honey, your phone is gone. And I said, oh, I left my phone in that cab. So here it is, what I did. And this is the difference between Uber and Yango. And this is something Yango needs to improve, honestly, really. Uber, because I've had this happen to me in South Africa. I left something, I think a charger or something. Well, they link your phone to your email. So on the email, you can tell exactly who was driving you and what car it was. But with Yango, it's different. With Yango, you have to literally get on the platform, get on their website, and then go to the section, the lost item section. You send them an email. They reply saying, look, we've got your email. We'll get back to you in a few minutes. Do not resend your message because it's going to complicate stuff, is what they say. And then all you do is wait. It's a waiting game. Now, the sad part about this is that, okay, my phone is an old phone. It's not a bright, shiny phone. In fact, it's broken. It's cracked. Many of you remember the lady downstairs, the shoe lady. She threw a shoe at my phone, and it hit my phone, and my phone went crashing to the ground and splat, crack. It cracked in like 30,000 different directions, It's an old phone, but then still, you never know. People get in. Yango drivers tell me all kinds of horror stories. People step into a car. Some people are not very nice. They see something. Immediately, they think, oh, narashisha. I'm going to sell it. Which is wrong. When you find something that doesn't belong to you, the natural thing to do is to hand it back in. Is to say, hey, look, driver, somebody's left a phone back here. And then the responsible thing to do for the driver is to get in touch with the customer or go back to the thing, to the destination. That's the responsible thing. Goodness. Anyway, I've lost my phone. I don't think I'm going to get it back. Something tells me, and I don't mean to give a negative vibe or anything like that. I don't mean to give a negative vibe. It's just that sometimes you feel, it's been what? It's been 40 minutes. I haven't heard anything. Yango hasn't written me back an email saying, Mr. Mwewa, well, let me check now. I can check right now. Just give me a moment. I'm going to check my email right now. See there? They haven't responded. It's been 40 minutes. So if you're listening to this broadcast, let me throw up my phone number here. Because maybe that's not necessary to do. Because they link your phone number to the driver, is what they do. So that's my story. Guys, a couple of things I want to talk to you about, if you don't mind. Here it is. The first thing, I'd like to first of all talk about this. Let's talk about Iris's new show and her duet with Yo Maps. Did you see this? Now, a few things that I observed about Iris's duet with Maps. I noticed that she wasn't comfortable in her dress. And this is, ladies, this is something I find so strange. if you're going to wear something racy, own it. I see so many young people. I mean, they're in, I don't know what you call them now. They called them micro minis when I was young. I'm not even sure if do they have micro minis? Is there such a thing as a micro mini? Okay. I hear the word bum shorts a lot. Well, if you're going to wear a micro mini, own it. I mean, if that's your choice, I'm not endorsing it. What I'm saying is, if you have made the decision to dress like that, don't then turn around, act like you don't want to be in that dress. I mean, if all you're going to do is the whole time, if all you're trying to do is cover your slit, you've got a slit from Hades all the way up to Kingdom Come. If you're going to wear a slit that literally shows the entire side of your torso, then own it. Don't wear a slit that's so revealing and then all you do all night long is trying to cover the slit. It doesn't make any sense. My point is this. If you're going to cover it, then don't wear a slit. Don't wear a dress with such a revealing slit. Be more conservative. That way, you don't have to walk around all night trying to cover the slit. Am I making sense, guys? Does this make any sense to you? Huh? Mr. Moira, you're finishing our bundles. This comment always makes me laugh. This comment always cracks me up. It says it goes straight to the point. Guys, I keep telling you, and I will never stop saying this, every story has a beginning, middle, and an end. I mean, imagine for a moment going to the cinema. You walk into the cinema and they show the last 2 minutes of the film. That's what you guys are asking me to do. You see, I'm building up to the crescendo. Okay, that's what it is. So when I jump on the live, I'm not going to go straight into my dissertation. Goodness. I'm not going to go to the conclusion of my dissertation. I'm going to build it up a bit. Okay, so here it is. Let's go back to this because, and aside from the fact that I felt that Iris was uncomfortable in her dress, her attempt. Now, look, I understand that was all for fun. Iris was not performing in front of a paid crowd. Iris is not a singer. We recognize that. But aside from that, I felt that her duet with Yo Maps, as endearing as that may have been, in my view, she was completely out of tune. And at the risk of sounding like a hater, which you know very well that there's nothing I loathe more than a hater. That doesn't even make any sense. Imagine that. There's nothing I hate more than a hater. You just realized. Okay, all right. Okay, look, I know that sounds ridiculous, but at the risk of sounding like a hater, bless her heart, Iris was completely out of tune. And I suspect, and of course, I do not know this for a fact. I mean, this is so judgmental of me, but I think that she had a little more than one to drink. She sounded a bit tipsy to me, And there was Yo Maps trying. I mean, Yo Maps is a consummate performer. I mean, that's what he's designed to do. If you take a Ferrari, not that I've ever driven a Ferrari or have ever seen one, I doubt if I have. But if you take a Ferrari out in the open road, it does its thing. But if you take a Ferrari and stick it in traffic, it's not going to do its thing. My point is, Yo Maps is the Ferrari of Zambian entertainment. So of course he's going to do his thing. And there he was, he was trying to get this thing going. And then you've got Iris in the back. Iris. And he was trying to do it. He was trying to make it work, But anyway, I guess it was all for fun. And they're fine to do that. I mean, I don't want you to think that, I'm trying to rain on their parade. Nothing of the sort. I'm just making an observation. Okay. Lastly, on Iris's new show, I'm not so. Let me tell you what I think is going to happen with that show. Again, I'm going to sound like a hater, but man, I tell you, this is my observation. Okay. The opinions expressed on this show are purely mine and mine alone. This is what I think. What's going to happen with that show is that Iris has a younger sister. That is going to be the star of that show. What do you think? Tell me in the comments. I'll throw up your comment. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the show is going to morph. It's going to become something else. It's the real star of that show is going to be Iris's young sister. That's what I'm seeing. That's the vibe I'm getting. Tell me if you think that that's the deal or no. I'll wait. I'm waiting for your comments. He says you can't die from BP always jovial. Well, I have my down days, Like today's a down day because I've lost my phone. I left my phone in the backseat of the Yango, for goodness sake. I've written to them waiting for let me check if they've responded. Yango, have you responded to my email? I need that phone. Who needs the hassle? Oh, still no response from Yango. Who needs the aggravation of going out there and buying a brand new phone? Goodness, I'm used to that phone. Sure, it's broken, it's cracked. Sure, it's not the latest one. But for goodness sake, it works. And that's all you need is a phone, a functioning device. Is it too much to ask for me to ask Yango to bring me back my phone? I don't think that's too much to ask, honestly. Okay, so there's the deal. So anyway, I'd like to ask you if you guys think that Iris's new show, if the star of that, I think the star of that show is going to be her younger sister. Not so much Iris, but the younger sister is going to be the star of that show. That's what I think. Anyway. All right, next issue I want to talk to you about is Mwizu's date. Now, guys, could you correct me if I'm wrong? The other day, I saw, and Mwizu Kanji is a friend of mine. Mwizu is somebody that I get along with very well. And I saw something, she had posted something that sort of hinted that she was on the cusp. Are you familiar with that word? Cusp. She was on the precipice. She was on the ledge. She was on the edge of marriage. In Zambia, we say marriage. I got the impression, I got the vibe that Mwizu's actually, she's about to get married. And because the post was a bit ambiguous, okay? I mean, ambiguous meaning it wasn't completely clear. It sort of hinted. So I tried to phone her up to verify. I wanted to find out. I wanted to call her up and say, hey, Mwizu. I call him Mwizu. I wanted to say, Mwizu, are you getting married? What's the deal? What do we need to do? Well, her phone was off for some reason, and I couldn't get a hold of her. So I didn't get a response from that. And then I hear that Chile One has some kind of crush on Mwizu. And Mwizu responds and says, okay, you want to go on a date? Let's do it. Any place of your choice within a radius of 15 kilometers within the CBD. The bill is on me. Those are bars, y'all. 15 within a radius of 15 kilometers within the CBD. The bill's on me. I'm in the wrong profession. I mean, I should be with on stage with Snoop Dogg and Funk Master Flex, Warren G and Dr. Dre and Mason them. Shouldn't be sitting here at Simoson dealing with Simoson business owners, talking about how their shops are leaking and how I need to fix that. No, man, I need to be out there on stage, on tour somewheres. I'm joking. It's a joke. Anyway, so Mwizu says she's going to go out on this date. Now, here's my observation. Guys, women, ladies, you have to have a man that is secure in your relationship. If indeed Mwizu is about to get married, and then she's going to go out on a date, on a friend date with Chile One, you have to have a man that is completely secure in himself and in the relationship to allow that. I find that curious. I do. I find that very curious. And what I mean by that is that, I'm not so sure if that's the right thing to do right before you get married as a social, because, social media influences are cut from a different cloth. We're really different people. We don't live the way regular people live. We have to develop rhinoceros skin and all that stuff. So it's very easy for us to open ourselves up to unnecessary criticism. And so I feel my point, what I'm saying is, if indeed Mwizu is about to get married, which I haven't verified that, because I was trying, like I said, I was trying to call her because she's a friend of mine. She's someone I know. I speak to her on occasion, and we get along swimmingly. Mwizu Kanji and I get along swimmingly. She's very nice to me, and I want to believe I'm nice to her. But I tried to call her. I couldn't get through because I wanted to verify. Hey, kiddo, are you really getting married? Is this the deal? Wedding bells, what gives? But I didn't get that. So when I read that she's going out on a date with Chile One, the very first thing that hit me was, wow, she must be in a really solid relationship to be with a guy that is very confident in who he is. But the way I know Zambian men, I'm going on a Zambian man, a black Zambian. We are difficult. Anyway, that's my observation. I felt that this announcement that she's going to go out on a date with the guy barely a few days after she announced that she could possibly be getting married. I don't know if that's not gelling for me. And you know that old saying, if it's not jello, then if it's not gelling, then it's not jello. Tell me, am I overreacting? We don't know these people sleep at night. Somebody says, you are Fumulomo. Guys, it's my observation, for goodness sake. Come on. We're very difficult. We are difficult. Well, the bottom line is, it's all done in good fun. Wish them the best. I just think that it's curious. All right, lastly, can we talk about Kidist? And I want to share with you, I've never shared this with you before. This has always been my observation about Kidist. I've always felt this about her, both her and Yo Maps. And of course, as you know, here in the recent past, I've had the opportunity and the privilege to get to know them a bit. And they are honestly, really, and I'm not just saying this because they asked me to be a part of their video. And you know, a little backstory to that. When Yo Maps asked me to be part of the video, I immediately said yes. And you know what he said to me? He says, I'm so glad you said yes, because for some reason I just thought you were going to say no. I said, Maps, why would I say no to you? And he says, well, you know, sometimes social media sort of gives the impression that, you know, we're at each other's necks or something, or maybe you don't like me for some reason. So when I asked you, I was fully prepared for you to say no, and I was pleasantly surprised to hear you say yes. So you know, I was part of that video, and while we were shooting that video, we were over there at the Quorum. You know, it's that new country club deal that's in the Cabalonga area. It's called the Quorum. Okay, quorum. The word quorum means like a gathering. Okay, we shot the video there, and while there, I got to know them a bit, and I spoke to Kidist, I spoke to Yo Maps, his management, his team. Yo Maps has a brilliant team of young people that surround him and that sort of help him push his brand. I met DJ Kandeke for the first time, you know, who was so gracious to me. And I got the sense that these young people, Kidist and his wife, they are the most regular people you've ever met. Regular, normal couple, you know. I felt a little embarrassed because I thought, you know, sometimes we judge people. We don't even know who they are. You know, I'm guilty of it. I've done that, you know. But anyway, this is what I've always felt about Kidist. The very first time we saw or heard about Kidist was after the young man that died. What was his name? I want to say, tell me his name. David? Was it David? Did I say Kidist and his wife? Kidist and her husband. Sorry. I forget the right, Dave. There's that video that went on social media after his death. This thing was released, and it showed Kidist, you know, doing some sort of sadomasochism thing where she was whipping him and all. This was the inflection point. It was from that point that the public seemed to have a dislike for Kidist. It was from that point, because Kidist's fame simultaneously rose with the death of Davy, meaning when he died, all of a sudden this videotape was released, and everybody. So in most people's minds, they associated Kidist with Dave in that scenario. This is what should have happened. And of course, social media, you don't always get it right. But I remember, and I almost called them up. But this was back when, you know, I didn't think that these young people were accessible. I didn't think that I could get through to them. What should have happened was during that time, because, you know, the whole nation was grieving. And believe it or not, people want someone to blame for something. The nation was grieving. This young man had died, and then this videotape came out. So you had a sect, a certain grouping within the social media circles that wanted to vent their frustration and their anger, and they chose Kidist because of that video. What should have happened was immediately during that time, Kidist should have just gone on air and apologized. And not so much explain what happened, but just say, you know what? He was my friend, and I'm sorry you feel the way you feel. But we didn't mean anything by that. But if it made you feel a certain way, I apologize for that. Boom. The one thing I know about Zambians when you genuinely apologize for something, of course, we're not saying that, understand me, we're not saying that Dave died because of Kidist. That's not what we're saying. Kidist has nothing to do with the demise of Dave. Nothing. I'm talking about the videotape where Kidist is seen, whipping Dave. Kidist should have just gone on air and said, folks, I'm really sorry that videotape made you feel a certain way, and then maybe attempted to explain what that was. But at the core, just simply say, I'm really sorry about that. And I didn't mean anything by that. And I'm so sorry. When you do that, you seal the issue. But because that wasn't done from the beginning, social media has had an axe to grind with Kidist. And then add to that, Kidist now became a fixture in Yomap's life. Again, the public, because they were so used to Yomaps being just Yomaps, and then all of a sudden it's Yomaps and his wife, the fans push against that. You know that in America, these groups, the singing groups, especially young male groups or young female groups, they try as much as possible not to show their personal lives and their relationships. Why? Because it affects their fans. They keep that out of the spotlight because it could potentially affect their fans. The same idea, the same attitude needs to be employed here. You must think of all those things. There are people that were loyal to Yomaps, and then all of a sudden now Yomaps is married. Those female fans feel a certain type of way towards Kidist. And the truth is, it's a form of jealousy. They're jealous. So because they're jealous, of course they're not going to have anything nice to say about Kidist. They won't. So that's my theory. That's my theory. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys. Michael says the couple goes through a lot. Yes, they do. Now, can you imagine? Of course, there's certain things that we bring upon ourselves, and that's fine. All of us go through that. But can you imagine the stuff that these two go through every day? Every single day. I mean, it's a wonder that these two guys are still sane. Some of you, and I said it in my earlier post, there are many of you, you can't handle this pressure. Kidist na Yomaps, the pressure and the hassle and the harassment on social media that they go through. Some of you would literally fall apart at the seams. You wouldn't even see the light of day. You wouldn't even crawl out of that cave you call a home if you went through half of the stuff that Kidist and Yomaps go through. But it's convenient. It's convenient. Who is this? This is Thelma. At your age with so much stupidity in your head. Thelma Katebe. She's PF. And silly. Do you know how you know when they're PF? Is when they talk like this. Well, Thelma, if this platform, if you don't like what I'm doing, honey, it's in the words of Beyonce, to the left, to the left, to the left, step the hell off of my platform. Thelma. All right. They love attention. They're making money. Well, you could look at it that way. Oh, she was not referring to me. Really? Oh, sorry if that was the case. Sometimes I can't tell the difference. Are you guys having conversations? Somebody says, no, I'm replying to, okay, sorry, Thelma. No, I'm replying to a comment. Okay. Thank you, Thelma. But I was used to the fact that because I go through this a lot with PF people. They they come at me. So Thelma, my apologies. I thought you were speaking to me. Oh, here's one. Here's one. Here's one. Okay, now this I know is for me. Don't put PF in your nonsense. Well, don't be here, Doris. Okay. Anyway, guys, I don't want this to turn into a confrontation. That's not what I'm here for. Anyway. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. Take care of yourselves and each other.